Darlings, today I want to talk about emotional openness. So this was something I learned about myself recently, is that I am generally a more open person. It's to the point where I actually feel really uncomfortable if I try to close myself off. And I realize that it's something that I do and that I really value in others. When I had a weekend with my partner Five at his house. And so his wife's partner, Patrick, was up. And when Patrick comes up, that's when I feel the emotionally safest to go out to their home. And Five, my partner, was going through some stuff. He was feeling a little down, feeling a little bit sad. And I felt some dread, I felt some worry. Because normally when that would happen, he would get really distant. He'd feel super far away. We could be cuddling, we could be in the same space, and it would feel like miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away. And I would struggle with that. I would not like it. I would feel nervous or off. And this weekend, he didn't do that. It was new and it was glorious and it was amazing because he let me in. He kept me in. It wasn't him walling off, but staying open and free. And I loved it. I felt sad that he was sad, but I felt so honored to be able to be in his space, to be able to be there with him in the sadness instead of feeling like I was cut off. And I was talking with him about it, and I realized that it was something he hadn't done on purpose. This time he was working on letting the feeling be instead of pushing it away, which is what would happen before. That would inadvertently cause all of him to wall off. So trying to push away the feeling meant walls going up. But this time he was embracing it. And it was hard for him, but I think hopefully worth it. It makes me think of if you have an infected wound and maybe it's kind of a dull ache and you just live with it, but it's there, it's persistent, it's going to last a really long time. But what you need to do to actually get rid of it is cut that bad boy open and let all the gunk out, really give it a deep clean. And oh yeah, it's gonna not feel great. It's gonna be a lot of discomfort. But then it will heal faster and be not as good as new, but quite a lot better than if you just leave it and let it sit there and fester and get all gross. And so I'm hoping that him being in the feelings will help. But like I said, it made me realize, oh, that's why I would have a really hard time with distance, or if he was going through something, because there would be that distance. And I did not like it. And it explains a lot about when I used to live there, because that would happen a lot and I'd feel really confused as to why he felt super far away, and I didn't really get it, and I felt kind of crazy because I'd think, he's literally right here. Why do I miss him? I don't get it. That's so weird. But now I do. And I went to therapy yesterday and learned, even before I brought that up, my therapist said, hey, I think you are more emotionally open. Because I was talking about how a couple people had brought up how maybe I don't have a lot of boundaries, or one was really talking about the importance of it and saying, oh, I met this lady and she has amazing boundaries, they're so great. And then later on said, oh, I just love how safe boundaries can make a person feel. And it felt like just shoving how amazing boundaries are just on top of me. And I actually set a boundary where I said, hey, could you not tell me how amazing another person's boundaries are? I don't need to hear that. I get it. But I was talking about this with my therapist, and she was saying, well, would you consider those people to be more emotionally close? And I said, yeah, definitely, 100%. And she said, maybe they feel your openness because it's way different from them being closed off, from them being guarded, from them keeping everything close to their chest. They see your heart on your sleeve, they see your openness, and it's kind of scary. And it's way different from what they do. And so they might perceive that as you not having boundaries. And I said, oh, that resonates. That feels like that could be the case. And I really appreciated her sharing that. And like I said, it was cool that I had just had that realization about feeling more open, and her picking that up before I even talked about it was pretty cool. But yeah, it was this interesting realization because I was thinking the people I feel the most comfortable with, the most emotionally safe with, are open. And they easily share. Maybe not so easily, but they do. They share. They don't keep everything so tight and close. And I have people in my life that do that on the regular. And I always feel a little bit off and disconnected from them. And I wish they would let me in, but I understand that you get hurt and it's probably easier to wall it off. I don't like doing it though for myself. I hate it because there have been a couple times when I've needed to stay safe. It feels so gross to me. I would much rather have the walls down, go about life being myself. I don't like to hide that stuff. I am practically incapable of hiding that stuff. The only time I can is around family or if it's a work thing. But with people I'm close to, people that I trust, like I said, practically impossible for me to hold that stuff in. I naturally want to share what's on my heart, and I want the people around me to do the same. And sometimes that hurts, and sometimes it's hard. But in general, I would rather not. Unless it just absolutely pokes an insecurity. If somebody was to say, this person's way better at this thing that you're insecure about than you are, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Yeah, that's maybe a... But most other things I very much enjoy hearing. And so it was another thing to put in my understanding kit about myself and about others and about how I show up in the world. And I'm curious how other people show up in the world. You know, are you more closed off? Do you keep it close to your chest? Do you have your armor up? Like Muay Thai where you're like, rah! You're like all in there. Are you open? Are you free? Are you like, here's my heart, it's on my sleeve? I love when other people's hearts are on their sleeves. Makes me curious, but yeah. Wanted to share interesting stuff. Thank you for listening, and I love you.